and welcome to this week's episode of Taking Care of Business. We've got Lynnette, our data queen again, and myself back for, I know I say it every time, my favourite one, the data one of the month, or the podcast on data from the previous month, in this case, October. We've been shoved in this room again. Lewis and Carl always get the boardroom. Maybe they're trying to compensate for something, I don't know. Okay, so let's get straight into it because there's loads that's been going on, and before we get into data, I'm gonna ask you a question. So this week again, we saw a further 0.75% base hike, the interest rate from the US, which obviously is enacted in the UAE as well. It's too early to see any impact from this hike, but have we seen anything so far in the market from hikes that have happened earlier in the year?
I think so. Here in the UAE, specifically in Dubai, we're pretty much immune to what is happening in the rest of the world, particularly the US, when it comes to the housing market. So obviously, the interest rate hikes in the US have taken effect on the US housing market. There is a decline in prices in pretty much across the board in the US, especially in the bigger cities. However, here in Dubai, it's a very different scenario. We have extremely high demand, high net worth individuals coming in. A lot of cash purchases are happening. Foreign direct investment, and the prime supply is dwindling, and it continues to dwindle. We haven't had that many off-plan launches as we were used to in the previous years. You have so many incentives from the government. You have the golden visas. You have incentives for businesses to move here. So it's a very different scenario here in Dubai. So have we seen the effect? Not really, not quite yet. Of course, mortgage rates have gone up. We're just barely sub 5% still, despite the last increase last week. However, people are still applying for mortgages, as we will talk about later on from our report from Allsopp Allsopp, and the market is still thriving. So if we look at the total amount of transactions of overall all Dubai for the month of October, we had 8,554 transactions, which equaled 25 billion dirhams. Now, if you put that into perspective, month on month, we had a very slight decline of less than 1%. It was actually 0.85% decline in volume, and the value changed by 3.14%. However, if you look at the year-on-year change, we had a 60% increase in volume and a 91% increase in value, which says a lot, because obviously prices have increased here in Dubai over the last year. If we break that down further, we also have an interesting pivot in the month of October. So in the month of October, 53% of the transactions were in off-plan, whereas 47% were in the secondary market. So this is the first month, and I would say over the last year, where off-plan has dominated the secondary sector.
Yeah, but we've been noting, haven't we? And we have seen the kind of figures get closer and closer together. But yeah, you're right, that is an interesting change. But maybe coming back to what you said a minute ago, that's a reflection of all the foreign direct investment, all the money that's coming into Dubai at the moment, and with the interest rates, interest rates rising, people's affordability in Dubai is reduced. So maybe we're seeing that kind of shift in the market of maybe less interest in secondary, but more of the cash coming in and the rich and wealthy coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I actually dove a little bit deeper into the numbers for October because I just, out of curiosity, I wanted to know what was the real year-on-year change for average prices overall Dubai for sales. And it's very interesting. For apartments in the Palm, it was a 90% increase. Business Bay, 53% increase year on year.
Wow.
This is for sales for apartments. Dubai Harbor, 43%. JVT and Remram, both 63%. And for the Villa Townhouse sector, we had Emirates Living at a 43% increase. Al Farjan, a 58% increase. Jumeirah Golf Estate, 69% increase, which I'm sure a lot of people are very happy about here in this office. Ranches 2, 66%. And both Victory Heights and Tilal Al Gaf, 104% increase year on year.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
and that's from DLD?
This is from Dubai Land Department, open data platform. And that's for sales for both apartments and villa townhouses, year-on-year change. So, just going back to your original question, your first question, have we really seen an effect of the rate hikes? We haven't. And I'm sure as we go into the Allsopp data, we're going to see even more activity.
it's just such a funny place at the moment, isn't it? I know we keep saying it, but like the uniqueness of Dubai's position in the world, you keep feeling there has to be an impact at some point, but yeah, as you say, at the moment, it's not reflecting in the data.
No, it's not. And every time you think like, okay, well, there is a rate hike, or there's the crisis happening in Europe, we have the energy crisis, but still something new would come up here in Dubai. Either some new initiative, something with the golden visas. Obviously, there's a lot of foreign wealth coming in. So it's really hard to gauge Dubai as a market against any of the other markets. Yeah.
So in terms of where people are buying, where is that? What's the hottest communities at the moment?
So for Dubai Land Department open data, when it comes for sales for the top 5 apartment communities is Business Bay, Jumeirah Village Circle, Palm Jumeirah, Dubai Hills Estate, and Dubai Marina. And then for villa townhouses, it's Madone, actually, that's number 1 in October, Murdif, Tilal Al Farjan, Villanova, and Jebel Ali Village.
Wow, that's a surprise.
Yeah. So it's very interesting, and we're starting to see, which is a whole conversation of its own, is the shifts that are happening within the city. Obviously during COVID, we saw the shift to the suburbs from the city.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing people go back to the city where it's more affordable for apartments. We're seeing people go to the areas like Rimram and Town Square, where we're going to have the Etihad rail eventually in the next few years. So, it's very interesting to see the shift in the city as well as where investors are investing in.
I find it's a separate subject, but fascinating, because we've seen the growth of a city from when I first got here, downtown and Marina, and that was pretty much it to everything that's going on, the suburbs and what have you. So I know just off air, you're talking about percentage changes in communities.
Yeah.
Do you want to share that data with us?
So in regards to for rentals?
What was that, sorry?
So this was Dubai Land Department for sale. So I can talk about
Sorry, now you've gone through it, yeah.
Yeah. So for rentals, for the month of October from the Dubai Land Department open data, there was 59,870 Ijari rental registrations, which is an 8% increase month on month.
Which is the highest for the year, I think, as well.
It is the highest of the year, yeah. 58% were new contracts, while 42% were renewal, which I find very interesting. The top 5 areas for rentals for apartments for overall Dubai was International City and Dubai Silicon Oasis, Discovery Gardens in Al Farjan, JVC, Dubai Marina, and Business Bay. The top areas for villa townhouse rentals in overall Dubai was Damac Hills 2, which we know is Aquaria Oxygen, Emirates Living, Arabian Ranches 2, Al Farjan, and Dubai Hills Estate. Now, I also looked at the data for the increase of rental activity from Ijari year on year, and again, found some very interesting information. So from the apartment sector, Town Square grew by 25% year on year.
Wow.
Satwa grew by 25% year on year. Downtown Dubai by 29%, Dubai Marina by 25%, and the Palm by 25%. This is for apartments.
Yeah.
Now, for the villa townhouse sector, Dubai Hills grew by 53% year on year, the Palm by 50%, Meydan by 54%, and Jumeirah Park by 25%. So this is the data. So data beats opinion every single time. So you hear like, oh, rents are increasing, sale prices are increasing. Well, you just need to look at the data, which we obviously have, and as soon will be accessible to everybody. The market is going in the direction that we keep on saying that it's going in, that you're seeing in the press and in all these articles, as well as in our podcast. And like I always say, the proof is in the pudding, or the proof is in the data.
Certainly true. And one of the things that I'm just looking at the graph at the moment for the Ijari stats. In October, new contracts, so not renewals, there was 8,163 new rental contracts of office spaces in Dubai, which I will come back to you. Maybe we'll come back to it next month. I've asked our data team to look into more to give us a little bit of context of, is that high, is it low, how does it go year on year? But just as a standout figure, it seems quite high, to be honest, and we'll give more context, but in 1 month, there's over 8,000 new businesses taking premises.
Yes.
Or maybe people upsizing or one thing or another. But 8,000 new office space rentals is huge, and it speaks for how busy we all keep saying the city is and what's going on in the city at the moment.
Absolutely. And I will not be surprised that when we pull this commercial data, we're going to see a significant increase in rentals.
I think so.
Across the city. This has been a trend that has been going on, I would say, for the last year and a half. So it's going to be very interesting to do that podcast on commercial.
100%. And the reason we're bringing it up is obviously more offices opening, more business being created, population growth, more people to Dubai, more people need to live in properties essentially, and that brings it back to the real estate side of things and why we will be seeing and why we are seeing more rental contracts, more sales transactions happening. It all links in together to the stronger the economy is, the stronger the real estate market is. Okay, let's have a flick to Allsopp and Allsopp data, shall we? Quickly run through some headline figures, which are always quite nice to look at. The top 3 sales transactions in October, we had one at 59.5 million on Palm Jumeirah, 2 big sales in Al Barari last month, one at 20 million and one at 17.2 million. On the rental side of things, the largest transactions we had, 1.16 million in Jumeirah Golf Estates, 800,000 rental on Blue Waters, and one for 560,000 dirhams in Emirates Living. So quite sizable transactions again, which keep coming back to, speaks to the money coming into Dubai at the moment and the amount of wealth coming into Dubai. If we look at Allsopp and Allsopp data on the sales side in terms of average prices, month on month from September, you can't really read too much into this, but a 35% increase year on year, which is the more fairer representation, 12% increase, and that's across the whole board. So broken down by area, we'll see different percentages, but across the board, a 12% increase. And in terms of buyers' positions, we had 54% finance buyer, I think 6% developer deals, and 40% cash purchases. So slightly off, I'd say, the land department data, but that is down to our niche in the market, which is a heavily residential secondary market company. Nationalities for tenants, British, Russians and Indians, and exactly the same again for buyers. So it seems to be that's where the interest is at the moment. And again, as we say every month, the Russians are really starting to dominate and secure their place in the top 3 on both sides at the moment, which is maybe no surprise. Coming on to rental prices, month on month, 6% increase. So October this year compared to last year, but year on year, a 47% increase, which matches the Ajari data. And I'm sure if anyone's watching who is renting a property and been in a position of having to move, then it's probably matching what you're seeing out there in the market as well. So, and then our top transacted areas tie in quite well with the DLD, as we'd expect. Really, we kind of plan a lot of our growth in terms of what's happening in the market. So there's no surprise there. But yeah, overall, a busy month again, both very DLD busy. and Allsopp and Allsopp.
Yeah, very, very busy. And I'm very curious to see how we're going to do in November. I mean, I don't know about you, Paul, but I live in the JBR area, and every single night it's full as if there's an event happening. You know how like when there's usually fireworks and stuff, you have a big crowd. It's like that every single night. It could be a Monday night, Wednesday night, does not matter. I go for my walks at night, in the morning, and it's just full of people. A lot of tourists are here. I don't know if we can attribute that exactly 100% to the World Cup, but I am seeing a lot of families, a lot of tourists, a lot of the tourist buses, the hotels. The average price for a hotel in JBR is 2,000 dirhams per night.
Crazy.
A friend of mine rented his flat in Dubai Parmenan for the month of December for 30,000 dirhams, a 1-bedroom, 700 square feet, to two people for the whole month of December. And of course, every time I turn my head, I'm hearing Russian speaking. So it's very interesting, the dynamics in the city. I was here in 2007. I have to say it's busier than 2007.
Really?
Yeah. It's incredible, and I love it. You know, it's amazing for Dubai. It's amazing to see how much we have grown through COVID and over the last year, especially within real estate. But not only that, but like with the golden visas and new businesses coming into effect. Yesterday there was the article that we have already distributed over 100,000 golden visas here in the UAE. So I mean, it's really incredible to see. So it's so hard, going back to your very first question, it's so hard to compare Dubai to the rest of the world or to other major cities in the world, because we really are unique in every single way.
Do you know? Yeah, and I'm hearing so much at the moment, both from my own friendship group in the UK, but also just anecdotally when I'm talking to anyone around the market or the school drop off and what have you. Most people have got friends who are asking to move to Dubai at the moment.
Yes.
And can you find me a job? I want to get out from wherever I am. And even the recruitment event that we held in Dubai, there was people coming there talking that they were in Dubai at the moment, but they were asking for jobs for friends as well that they've got back home and what have you. So yeah, it's there's something special going on in the city at the moment. And where I think this is different from 2007 is, property market specifically, you have to put so much more equity in the market these days. You have to get a golden visa, you have to be contributing quite a lot to society. So I think there's a lot more solid foundation and solid groundwork. And I think this time what we're seeing is driven by people seeing a home in the city and wanting to put down roots in the city, and not going back to 2007 when it was just people putting all the life savings to buy 5% of a property and then trying to flip it the next day, and that house of cards came down. I think it's a completely different proposition for at the moment. So
absolutely,
all we can do is keep reporting on the data month on month and sharing what we're seeing and seeing what impacts maybe down the line that the Fed rises have, or compare it to anything else. I know you've got some fascinating points and discussions that will lead us into maybe next week's podcast or a separate video in terms of like macroeconomics around the world and different touch points to things and how it might affect Dubai and how it might benefit Dubai, if there can be any hurdles Dubai. So that would be one for everyone to watch out for in the next week or so, I guess.
Yes, it will be.
Good. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Lynnette, once again.
Thank you, Paul.
Any questions, as always, any clarity, if you agree with us, disagree with us, let us know. If you're interested in anything you're hearing, just like and subscribe and keep following us. Thank you, and see you next time.